So Tim, man, now that we have confirmed that you are Tim Downey, I understand when you showed up that first Sunday, there were some questions, but I just want to personally welcome you back from your sabbatical, but now it's being labeled Stashe-batical. Is that right?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Well,
yeah.
I just want you to know that for the purposes of this interview, that I am in solidarity with you, brother.
Thanks, man.
You may want to get in close. It's not what it could be, but it's going to get there, okay?
Yeah, I'm thankful for the Stashe-batical, and I'm happy that I'm already having a major impact on RCC being back. So
Yeah.
It's how long do you need to keep that going?
I don't know, man. I'm on thin ice. I had long hair for a while there. And, I'm using a lot of my permissions at home right now. So the kids are already on me about it.
Yeah, she's not fully okay with this project either. So we'll see how long it lasts.
In the meantime, dude, we love it.
Yeah,
thanks. We love it.
Try to get Kevin to join us in this mission.
We'll see if snow comes around.
Cool.
Man, welcome back.
Thanks.
Officially.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that don't know, Tim has been back with us, for a couple of weeks now. But we had a planned, prayed over, and really prepared sabbatical that lasted 6 weeks for Tim and his family. And he had stepped out of youth ministry and stepped into a season of rest and renewal. And man, I know that we had a really good plan for it. We were excited about it. We were praying into it. But since you've been back and you and I have been able to chat a little bit, it sounds like it went well. So maybe you could share with our church just a few takeaways and what God really did while you were on your time away.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, and just coming back, I'm just incredibly thankful to our church. Thankful for the opportunity to just take a pause, take a break, to become still, with God. It's hard to express really how grateful I am to have had the last 6 weeks just to disconnect, but for the purpose of reconnecting, reconnecting with the Lord, reconnecting with myself, my own heart, reconnecting with Melissa and with the kids. I'm really, really encouraged by the youth ministry team that just rallied this summer. And Passion Camp, just the testimonies that we heard last Sunday, just so encouraging. I was so touched. I couldn't help but just cry hearing those testimonies, just youth sharing about what the Lord was speaking to them and shifting in them. And so, I'm just really thankful for the youth team, just the way they've served and poured into the youth. And my sabbatical, it was life-changing, honestly. It was really life-changing. I got to spend a good amount of time in solitude, just me alone in nature with the Lord. Reading a lot. I love the books that you had given me before the sabbatical, Secrets of the Secret Place by Bob Sorge. Just got to every day read a chapter of that, journal on that, and just kind of ask the Lord to speak to me through that. Practicing Lectio Divina in the Scripture and just letting the Word wash over me. And then also the critical journey, the 6 steps of the life of faith. And that was really impactful. And I could just share like so many wild adventure stories from my sabbatical, and there really were some pretty wild stories, so I'll share with people kind of more one-on-one. But it was a really good time of reconnection and just kind of getting away from the noise, getting away from just the busyness, of everyday life, and kind of letting the Lord have that space to speak into me. I would say that Melissa and I just found ourselves really reconnecting in some super healthy ways. I was able to be just fully present with my family, with my kids. Took a week family vacation. It was like the first time in a long time that I was just fully there with my kids and not thinking about ministry and things that had to be done. And so I know my kids felt that, and I've already seen just immediate fruit from just that. The Lord reminded me how important it is to be fully present, with my family, and how my ministry is first to them, before it is to the church and, before it is to work. And so anyway,
Awesome, man. Well, the 3 areas that we were hoping and praying for that God was going to bring, I think the best word is renewal. Like you loved your family. Everything was good. You loved the Lord. We all knew that. And you loved ministry. But when you take a prolonged season of rest like that, to use your words, disconnect so that you can properly reconnect, you're asking for renewal. And it definitely sounds like you had renewal personally with God. It definitely sounds like you had renewal relationally with family.
Yeah.
You know? And then the third piece is, we had left it open. We had told the church before you left that we were leaving it open and undefined, what you were going to step back into. And we even left it so open as we were even like, God, we want to make sure that this is what you have for Tim. And we want him to really feel called back to RCC. So when you and I met up after you got back, it sounds like that's exactly what happened. So you've also experienced this renewal in your calling and your vocation and your heart for ministry in the church. And I know that you told me that you still feel very strongly that ministry is supposed to happen here at RCC. But maybe you could unpack for these guys some things that God taught you about yourself, and maybe specifically what this next season of ministry can look like for you here. And then I'll share something really neat when you're done from my perspective after you shared all this with me. So
cool. Yeah, so I think the word that kind of culminated my sabbatical was this word of attentiveness to the Lord. And so the journey was a process of letting God open my ears to Him again in a new way. And so there was a reorienting. There wasn't just this sense of rest and renewal and recharging, like that was there, but there was also a reorienting of how I see ministry. And I think that it's a journey that God has, I think, started on me, and it's cool. I thought maybe my sabbatical was going to be this, just this, everything was going to happen in this, short period of time. But really it was God starting me on this journey. My last week I spent down in Tampa with Michael Kiker, which was such a fruitful time. And he just really encouraged me and challenged me to reorient myself within ministry to a place of prayer and attentiveness. And that last week I really wanted to hear this crystal clear word about what exactly I was going to do for RCC when my sabbatical was done. But through that process of God opening my ears, I realized that spiritual formation was something that He was really speaking to me about my own life personally. And as He was showing me how important that was, He was just showing me that everybody needs that. That everybody needs someone like Kiker, in a sense, did for me, to come alongside of them and go, hey, the life of ministry is really about listening to the Lord and having that posture of spiritual formation where you're allowing Him to just keep that ongoing inward transformation happening. And so I just kind of felt like as I get back into ministry at RCC, like the need for that one-on-one discipleship, pouring into people, we have a lot of new people coming to our church, inviting them into this process of discipleship, spiritual formation, learning how to hear from the Lord, listen to the Lord. And so that was one of my big takeaways, was like all work and ministry flows from the secret place of prayer, and so teaching people that I've become just really passionate about in this season. And then the second part is like, the second takeaway I would say of my sabbatical is any amount of time you give to spiritual formation in your life, you're going to reap a reward of that. As you pull back from even good things, even things that you feel called to, work, ministry, whatever it is, and you let the Lord shape you and form you, you find yourself walking into a real richness in your life in every area. And I've just seen the fruit of it in every area of my life, from my own life to my family. And so I just want to help people with that. And I want to help just come alongside our people and our leaders to just be open to what God is saying.
That's awesome, man. So when we sat down and really started to have this conversation about what it's going to look like for you to re-enter the body and in ministry, Tim and I had both showed up with some ideas for what we sensed God might be just calling him into, but also where did what God was calling Tim into fit into the needs of RCC. And we really showed up with the same notes. I mean, that was a big confirmation for me in the coffee shop that day.
So cool.
Was that one of the ongoing needs in our church is care and equipping, resourcing, this whole idea of formation that we talked about with our pattern series for our city group leaders and those that are in the trenches, really investing in those that are investing in others. And then also, you've heard me mention it, how many new people are showing up at RCC. And we have all these newcomers groups. And what does it look like for people from the moment they take a step toward a newcomers group and say, I think I want to be a part of the life of this church. Well, who's going to walk with them and journey with them spiritually, but also just through the pathways of what it looks like to connect here and become a part of our church? And I was really seeing that for you, man. I was, but I didn't want to. I knew this was such a big moment as you were stepping out of 10 years of ministry in one way to this new season. I didn't want to project that onto you, but I thought it was so amazing that God was really speaking those same things to your heart. Yeah. And one thing that I've said to you a few times now is that you have a real gift to be in a room with a lot of people, but everyone in the room feels like you're with them, you're present with them. And I think God's given you a real ministry of presence that way, and an ability to listen and encourage and let people know that they matter and that they're special. And of course, we're all Christians. We all want to do that. But I think you have a disproportionate way of doing that. Cool. And I just affirm that in you, man. I think that's a blessing. And thanks, bro. I really do believe that through this next season of growth, and even as we prepare to move into the new facility, that we're going to need a shepherd working with our city group leaders, welcoming our newcomers, and doing more. Come alongside some of our volunteer ministries. Yeah. So listen, you see Tim, I know you welcomed him back, but welcome him back in his new capacity. If you're leading a city group, if you're a city group coach, if you're a newcomer, some of you have already experienced this, but expect to see Tim, hear from Tim. He wants to listen, he wants to serve, and see how best to come alongside and equip you so that you can begin to experience what God's allowed him to start tasting and seeing on his sabbatical. So beautiful, man. You want to overflow what God's giving you, and I think that's where the real ministry happens. So with that said, we could say more, and we will say more, but we love you all. We're excited about this next season. And Kevin Snow, just want to thank you, man, for shooting the video. Happy Stashe-batical to you, and guys, have a great week. Talk to you soon.